A stray cat named Tombi disrupted a math class and quickly formed a strong bond with the students. However, when a looming challenge arose that could potentially break this bond, the students' actions were beyond imagination. In a small school in Izmir, Turkey, something extraordinary happened during a regular math class. On a cold Monday morning, while the third-grade students were getting settled, a scruffy orange cat walked into the room, catching everyone by surprise. Their teacher, Mrs. Özlem Pınar, couldn't help but be amazed by the unexpected visitor. Instead of chasing the cat away, she decided to let it roam freely for a while, thinking it might make the class more interesting. Little did she know this simple decision would lead to a special bond between the students and the cat, whom they named Tombi. Unlike other stray cats around the school, Tombi seemed to enjoy being around people, especially the students. They happily petted him, played with him, and even gave him treats during breaks. One day, Tombi decided to become even closer to the students. During a math lesson, he confidently walked into the classroom again, causing a momentary distraction. But this time, he didn't seem to want to leave. Mrs. Pınar decided to let him stay because she believed that everyone, even a stray cat, deserves to learn. And she also knew that Tombi brought joy to her students' lives. The third-grade students were known for getting carried away over trivial issues, often distracting the class with their playful antics. Borrowed pens, misplaced toys, and impromptu games would usually steal their attention. However, with Tombi's regular visits, the dynamics changed. The children found themselves more focused. Whenever the cat was present, they started to play less during lessons, ensuring they didn't accidentally step on or disturb their newfound furry friend. Mrs. Pınar observed the positive change in her class. Instead of the usual chaos, there was a newfound sense of order whenever Tombi graced them with his presence. The students were now engaged and attentive during lessons. Even the most mischievous of the bunch found themselves captivated by Tombi's antics, choosing to focus on the class rather than their usual shenanigans. The bond between Tombi and the class deepened with each passing day. The children eagerly anticipated his visits, and the cat, in turn, seemed to enjoy the lively atmosphere of the classroom. Tombi became a source of comfort and joy for the students, turning the once ordinary math class into a place of laughter and learning. However, the joyous atmosphere in Mrs. Pınar's third-grade class took a sudden downturn when a concerned parent raised the alarm about potential allergies. Worried about the health implications for some of the children, the parent reported the presence of the cat to the school authorities. Despite Mrs. Pınar's efforts to explain the positive impact he had on the class, the school decided to relocate the cat to ensure the well-being of the students. With a heavy heart, Mrs. Pınar had to find another home for Tombi. The once lively classroom was now melancholy as the news of the cat's departure spread among the students. The children, who had grown attached to their feline friend, couldn't comprehend why something that brought them so much joy had to be taken away. As Mrs. Pınar sought out a new home for Tombi, she took him to a vet hospital for vaccinations. The atmosphere at the vet's office was tense, and Tombi, sensing the change, seemed uneasy. This routine visit became a stark reminder of the drastic shift in his life. A new home was eventually found for him, but the cat struggled to adapt, refusing to eat and displaying signs of depression. His well-being took a toll in its unfamiliar surroundings. Meanwhile, the students, unaware of Tombi's struggles, were left grappling with the emotional turmoil of losing their feline friend. News of Tom's unhappiness reached the students, and their once lively spirits were now clouded with sadness. Desperate to reconnect with their furry companion, the students wrote heartfelt letters and drew pictures, pouring out their feelings and memories onto paper. However, their attempts seemed futile as Tombi remained distant and unresponsive, yearning for the familiar faces of the third-grade class. Unfortunately, this also prompted his adoptive family to give him up. Mrs. Pınar couldn't bear to see her students in such distress, and she felt a deep responsibility towards Tombi as well. So she went to the shelter Tombi had been surrendered to and took the cat to her own home, hoping to provide the personal attention he needed. It was a challenging task as he remained visibly depressed, longing to be back with the students who had become his family. In the quiet solitude of Mrs. Pınar's home, Tombi slowly began to eat again, finding solace in the familiar presence of the teacher who had shown him kindness. However, the depression persisted, and Tombi's eyes reflected the sadness of separation from his beloved friends in the third-grade class. Realizing that the cat's heart belonged with the students, Mrs. Pinar knew she had to come up with a plan to reunite him with his rightful companions. She brainstormed ideas to convince the school authorities that Tombi's presence was essential for the well-being of the students. Mrs. Pinar understood that her responsibility extended beyond the classroom, and she was determined to make things right for both Tombi and her students. Faced with the challenge of convincing the school authorities to allow the cat back into the classroom, Mrs. Pinar decided to take a bold step. She shared Tombi's story on social media, hoping to garner support and showcase the positive impact he had on her students. Unexpectedly, the post went viral, spreading across various platforms and catching the attention of not only the school management, but also the head of the Municipality of Education. The heartfelt social media post reached the parents who had initially expressed concerns about allergies. Seeing Tombi's story and witnessing the genuine bond between the cat and the kids, they had a change of heart. The wave of public support, fueled by the power of social media, prompted the school to reconsider their decision. The provincial director of National Education and Air launched an investigation into whether the cat posed a health risk to the students and ultimately ordered that Tombi be reunited with his classmates. The news of Tombi's return spread like wildfire through the school, creating excitement and anticipation among the third-grade students. Their furry friend was coming back, and the classroom would soon be filled with the joy and laughter that he brought. As the decision was finalized, Mrs. Pinar, accompanied by the students, took Tombi to the vet for a full checkup and vaccinations. The kids, eager to keep their feline friend company, showed their commitment to his well-being. The visit to the vet ensured that he was healthy and ready to resume his role as the beloved class companion. With Tombi back in the classroom, the students embraced their responsibility to care for their furry friend. They learned to be gentle with animals, taking turns to ensure he felt loved and looked after. The once rowdy class was now transformed into a haven of responsibility and compassion, inspired by the presence of their extraordinary feline friend. Mrs. Pinar was deeply touched by how much Tombi meant to her students. This inspired her to write books about Tombi and his friends, where they go on adventures and learn important things like being a good friend, taking responsibility, and showing kindness. These books became really popular all across the country, and kids everywhere were excited to read them. They even became a regular part of school lessons. These books weren't just fun stories. They taught kids valuable lessons about caring for others and understanding different perspectives. Mrs. Pinar didn't stop there. She decided to use the money she made from the books to help other animals in need by donating it to the local animal shelter. Tombi's story didn't just touch the lives of the students, it also made a big difference in the whole community. Mrs. Pinar showed that being a teacher isn't just about teaching from textbooks. It's about caring for your students and the world around you. The special bond between Tombi and the third-grade class showed everyone that unexpected friendships can lead to amazing things. What do you think of Tombi? Let us know in the comments section. Thank you.